On South Central Avenue in Marshfield. We are back once again for our high school boys basketball preview program on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and also on ZaleskiSports.com. Along with Larry Hazer and Jason Zaleski and Mike Steinwagner, I'm Gene DeLisio. Good to have you with us for our program this evening. During the course of the next couple of hours, we'll talk with boys basketball coaches from throughout central Wisconsin about their teams and their hopes for the upcoming season. We have several important guests lined up to talk about their basketball seasons coming up this year. Once again, Larry Hazer from WCCN and WPKG in Neillsville joining us for our broadcast this evening. Larry, good to be back with you once again. Should be a fun boys basketball season once again this year.
Yeah, I know we talked about girls basketball last week, and now boys basketball. And I tell you, there's a few conferences in boys basketball that are going to be just as tough as there is in girls basketball. And a couple of them, the Marywood South and the Cloverbelt East. There's going to be some tough conferences again this year.
Yeah, some good basketball this year, as you mentioned, in the Eastern Cloverbelt.
Yeah.
And for the first time in, I'm sure, quite a while, we're talking about the Spencer Rockets being a real contender in that league.
Yeah, kind of I don't know if it's a surprise maybe to us, but maybe not to them. But and I know it's not just Sam Beslick that's their guy. Because the other night they won, and it was Wes Neiman who came up big. So
and the McCone kid is doing a nice job for them as well.
And that's what I see in a lot of those teams in that Eastern Cloverbelt, especially because that's basically the conference that we follow. But it's not just one guy on a team. Basically, it's a lot of guys on these teams that step up on different nights, and that's what makes them, I guess, tough to defend and sometimes tough to beat when you don't know who you got to key on.
Of course, Columbus also quite strong in the Eastern Cloverbelt, and you broadcast a lot of Neillsville ball games, and they have some nice talent with that program as well.
Yeah, and that's a team that goes fairly deep, a lot of length, but they had their hands full with Columbus Catholic. When Columbus Catholic can shoot the ball like they did that night, they're tough to beat, and they did. They shot the three well.
And then Loyal's pretty good.
Loyal,
and, Owen Withy always has some very strong ball players as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Marywood South, and Stratford may be struggling this year a bit, but still some other good teams in that league. The Assumption Royal is pretty good, Newman decent, and Edgar's having a good year so far as well.
Auburndale
is always a strong ball club. Got beat a couple of nights ago, but nonetheless a nice ball club as well.
And don't count Stratford out. I mean,
I suppose the new coach, and I guess it might take some time to get adjusted to that, but they should be a pretty strong ball club as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we follow the Wisconsin Valley Conference a lot. Marshfield Tigers, of course, defending state runners-up. And even though they lost Brooks Hinson and some other fine ball players, still a lot of good ball players in that program as they've shown so far this year.
Yeah, a lot of good seniors on that team.
Yeah.
I noticed the other night they won, and all four of the seniors. I know a lot of those guys because my son played with them back when he was in middle school, 3-on-3. And so, those guys are very talented senior bunch.
So some good basketball in central Wisconsin this year. We're going to talk to several of these coaches throughout the evening tonight here on WOSQ and ZaleskiSports.com. We mentioned the Marshfield Tigers and the Columbus Dons. Their coaches will be here. Auburndale and Neillsville and Pittsville represented as well. And also we'll talk to the Spencer coach Charles Jennings on our program this evening. So lots of good stuff coming up here in Nuts Deep 2 this evening. By the way, you can stop by Nuts Deep 2 and take part in their weekly features. On Friday night, they have their famous fish fry, voted the best fish fry in Marshfield 4 consecutive years. So stop by, enjoy that, the fish fry every Friday night at Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. Speaking of boys basketball, let's check the boys basketball schedule around central Wisconsin on Thursday. In the Eastern Cloverbelt tomorrow night, the Gilman Pirates and the Columbus Dons square off at Columbus High School, game time 7 p.m., and that broadcast begins tomorrow at 6:45 on AM 1450 and FM 98.7 WDLB and WDLBAM.com. Also in the Eastern Clover Belt, Spencer at Colby, Loyal at Greenwood Granton, that ball game at Greenwood tomorrow. And Owen Withy plays at Neelsville. Should be a good ball game at Neelsville tomorrow. Tip off at 7 p.m. And that broadcast begins at 6:45 on 92.7 FM WPKG. In the Western Clover Belt tomorrow evening, Thorpe is at Stanley Boyd, Fall Creek at Cadott, Bloomer at McDonald, Elk Mound at Regis. And Larry, some good ball clubs in that Western Clover Belt once again this year as well.
Yeah, that's a very talented conference. I know when they have the crossover playoffs at the end of the year, you find some very talented teams over in that Western Clover Belt. You think the East is good until you play the West. You find out, they're a lot of times a little bit higher level as far as athleticism.
You see the Western Clover Belt more than I do, but I do notice it looks like Stanley Boyd's playing a bit better this year.
Stanley Boyd's got a couple of tall kids. I know, I think it's Charlie Hole, I think.
Yeah.
He's very talented, and they have another young kid that's very good as well and tall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got some good athletes.
Yeah, Charlie's brother Henry is at EW Eau Claire,
right,
so he's playing over there this
year.
Yeah, so some good basketball this year in the Western Clover Belt Conference.
You bet.
Once again, our boys basketball preview program tonight from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Visit with local coaches throughout the evening about the upcoming high school boys basketball season. We'll come back and visit with Auburndale basketball coach Chad Weinfurter on our program following these messages.
Little Sprouts Learning Garden with 2 convenient central Wisconsin locations. Here's Brooke Sievers to tell us about it.
Little Sprouts has been around for almost 7 years here in Auburndale. In Rudolph, we've been open for about 2.5. We serve here in Auburndale, we have 6 weeks old up until 12-year-olds. And then in Rudolph, we have 1-year-olds up until 12-year-olds. The biggest thing that we do with them is we have play-based learning so that they learn through play with each other. And social skills are a huge part of what we do with them.
Find Little Sprouts Learning Garden on Facebook today.
Find your next car, truck, sport utility, or van at Westside Service Auto Sales in Auburndale. Drive through their lot today to see rows and rows of vehicles ready to test drive. Or you can check out their complete inventory and see this week's featured vehicles at westsideservice.com. And check us out on Facebook. We're open 8 to 6 Monday through Friday or by appointment. At Westside, we service what we sell. Just a short drive from Rapid, Stevens Point, and Marshfield. Find your next ride at Westside Service Auto Sales in Auburndale, where we've been helping people find their next ride for nearly 50 years.
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Fear, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflateri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you.
We know how a bank should be at Partners Bank. Banking should be easier. Treating our customers as valued and important. Services should be better with online and mobile banking and locations close to where you live and work. Loans should be quicker, and we make all decisions locally with years of experience helping people with their financing needs. Partners Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Partners Bank, better together.
School boys basketball preview program this evening on WOSQ and ZaleskiSports.com. Our first guest is the boys basketball coach at Auburndale High School, Chad Weinfurter. Coach, thanks for coming by and joining us on our program this evening.
No, thanks for having me.
And let's talk about the start of your season. How have things looked for your Auburndale ball club so far this year?
It's a work in progress, as always is early in the year. I think especially this year, we obviously lost quite a bit with Blake Rabb and Thomas Awi from last year, along with Keegan Empey started for us, and we had another senior off the bench. So just trying to fill those roles. Blake especially is tough to fill because he provided so many things for us last year. He was our best defensive player, our leading scorer, a ball handler, and things like that. So we're trying to fill that not with just one guy, but a few guys, and trying to bring our underclassmen along and fill those roles. And kind of as I said in the Zaleski preview, getting used to that varsity physicality and the speed of the game has been an adjustment for a few of our guys.
You do have some ball players back this year. Tell us about those young men and where they fit in for you this year.
Yeah, we've got 2 starters back. Peyton Weinfurter, who's a 6'4" senior, and Connor Williams, who's a 6'5" junior. And who was a second-team all-conference player last year, and Josh Lundgren, who was an honorable mention. Two kids who really improved as the year went on last year and gained a lot of confidence, and really are our leaders on the floor. I think Josh is our second leading scorer, second leading rebounder, leading assist man. Peyton is always going to take the best perimeter player from the other team. He's our main ball handler, and he's a very good shooter as well. So those two give us quite a bit, and we're trying to fill in around them then.
How about some other young men on your ball club this year?
We've got a couple other seniors, Trevin Sievers, who comes off the bench, and Jay Kearns. Both really good kids, coachable kids, very good teammates. And then we've got some juniors who are playing, Will Akins, Ray Teska, and Jackson Gruby, who played a little bit last year as well, that fill out our starting lineup. And then we have a freshman in the rotation right now, Thomas Grayshak, which is a huge leap for any kid, but especially coming into our conference with the physicality and the speed and the level that we want to play at. He's done a nice job so far. His head's spinning a little bit, but he's coming along.
Coach, any surprises on your ball club so far this year?
I forgot Kyle Bowman, our junior off the bench as well. Surprises, not really. We're looking for a little more consistency. I thought we'd be a little bit better on the defensive end than we have been. We're a little disappointed there, but it's not it's stuff that's fixable, and our guys are really working hard in practice, and we're getting better by better, or a little bit better in each game, but maybe not the leaps that I want us to make.
You mentioned the defense, and of course many coaches these days do emphasize that perhaps more than they once did, but what does the defensive potential of this ball club look like?
Well, we've losing Thomas, who was 6'8", obviously was an anchor around the basket, but I think overall we have more length, and I think length matters when you're playing defense, so I think the potential is there. It's a matter of we tend to take some mental breaks. If we're not guarding the ball, all of a sudden it's time to kind of take a breath, and then we're one step behind. And I think if we can work on our focus and just play that whole possession out, I think we could be very good defensively. But those are those strides that those kids have to make that we're working on every day.
Well, you certainly have a wonderful system there in Auburndale. How does that help you to have guys come through that system every year and be able to play almost right away?
It's been great for a long time. Obviously we know it didn't start with me. I was fortunate enough to just continue what was going on and try to make adjustments that I wanted to make here and there. But we have a really good youth system. We got great numbers in our youth system. We've got we had two really good junior high coaches in Steve Voss, who used to be a girls varsity coach, and Mark Brost, who was our varsity baseball coach for a long time, and they did a great job. And now they've retired and recruited one of our high school teachers and Fletcher Rabb, one of my former players. Tim Gunderman's our high school teacher, and now they're really excited at the junior high level. And then for my staff, we're all Auburndale graduates, and a couple of them I coached, and one I played with. So just having that consistency with our staff and the expectations, and just even outside of basketball, how they should be acting in the classroom and things like that, I couldn't ask for better assistants and junior high coaches.
Chris Fisher brings it up quite a bit at Marshfield, the fact that his staff is virtually all Marshfield High School graduates. How does that help a program when you've got so many local guys involved?
I think there's a little extra pride there. There's a little more motivation than maybe somebody who just took a job there and they're finding out about what the culture's like. I think, that's probably another thing Coach Fisher and a lot of other coaches talk about is culture. What their culture of their program, what they want it to be, what it is, and things like that. And it's not an easy thing to build or maintain. But if you have guys that have been through it, have been around it, it's much easier to maintain that consistency and those high expectations. And I think that's been a huge advantage for me and my staff.
Coach, as we mentioned, Auburndale has run a system that's been pretty solid for many, many years, going back probably to the 1970s, 80s, whenever Coach Anderson began coaching that way. the game has changed so much in that period, gone from a back to the basket half court game to more open court basketball. How have you had to adjust that system in lieu of the new types of basketball that we're seeing these days?
Yeah, we were just talking about that a little bit today. We obviously run that dribble drive with some motion mixed in and things like that. I think the goals are the same. You want to get those shots either right at the basket or you want to get some wide open, in this case threes. Back in the day it was just a wide open jumper. The mid-range is not dead, but it's on life support for, if you watch the NBA, you watch the college game, and high school is probably where you're going to see it a little more, but I think the goals are the same, but I think teams are way more spread out now. It's more, can you get individual matchups and attack the rim and collapse the defense and either kick it out or drop it off or whatever it may be. And like you said, you don't see a lot of back to the basket stuff anymore. We still have some of that. Marathon's a team that is a very, very much back to the basket team inside, but you don't see it a whole lot anymore.
How do you coach that mid-range shot? Because there are some guys, you probably wouldn't know this guy, but a number of years ago, there was a player who led the Valley in scoring named Derek Bashara, who played for Merrill.
Absolutely, yep, I know the name.
Okay, and Derek Bashara led the conference in scoring by hitting 15-foot shots. I think he took 1 3 all year, but he hit a lot of mid-range jumpers. But today, you would think, why don't you step back and take the shot? Well, some guys can't step back and take that shot. So how do you encourage a player that 12, 15-foot shot is not a bad shot?
I think what we encourage is if you're open and it's in rhythm, we want you to take that 15 or 12-footer. Once you start stepping back from 15 feet, though, you probably want to take another step back, get to that 20-foot range. Once again, the way of the game. I don't do a lot of analytics, but I read about them. I don't necessarily apply it a whole lot to our team, but that 17 or 18-footer, that's not a great shot for anybody anymore. But the 15 to 12-footer, we'll still take that one, Gene.
But you may have guys who can hit that shot, but not the 19-footer.
Correct.
And you have to encourage that shot.
Yes, we are very much into play to your strengths. Mm-hmm. So the guys that can't shoot, we're probably not going to let them shoot a whole lot out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Larry Hazer for some questions and comments on Auburndale basketball.
Speaking
Larry?
of somebody who knows somebody who can shoot a little bit, right?
You mentioned physicality. How do you get that into your younger players? I mean, you just, so to speak, feed them to the wolves, or
There's some of that for sure. There's some of it where they're expecting a foul call and they'll look at the official and it's like, no, that's not a foul at the varsity level, and you have to play through it. So there's a mental part of it, and then there's a part in practice where you got to let them play a little bit and let them, and we've created a lot of drills, especially with our dribble drive, going to the basket, finishing through contact, and what to expect and not avoiding contact. A lot of our guys, when they come up to varsity, even though they've been drilled in it when they maybe been on JV or JV2, still don't quite understand what it is to maybe attack a defender without committing an offensive foul. That's the fine line that you want to have. And I think that was a big adjustment like Josh and Peyton made last year. They're obviously not very big kids. They're both about 5'9", but now they've learned how to, okay, I can get into that guy's body and finish. And some of our juniors now are still adjusting to that, and definitely our freshmen is. So that's something we have to drill, and it's something you just have to make them comfortable with, and basically there's no excuses.
the Marywood South? You look on paper, and this is a dogfight again this year.
Somebody asked me about it before. Marathon's, in my opinion, is head and shoulders above everybody else right now. Not saying that not any of us maybe could knock them off, but then after that, the other 6 teams or the other 5 teams are right there.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's a good conference again. I don't think it'll ever change. We'll see.
You mentioned Marathon plays that back to the basket style of play, and obviously it's successful.
Absolutely.
Any thoughts of maybe going to that kind of style of play, or?
I think it depends on your personnel.
Okay.
They've had the personnel for a while. Obviously, the big kid that's playing in college now, but they've always had those 6'3", 6'4", 6'1" guys where that fits their style. Now, they aren't going to post up some of their smaller guys. Obviously, they'll make adjustments on that. And for us, the reason it necessitated us going to the dribble drive was, well, my son Cooper's my assistant now. With his grade coming through, we had no size whatsoever. And so we wanted to spread teams out. We could shoot. We could handle the ball. I still have that the old 3-out, 2-in, 2-post offense that's still in the playbook. It just needs to be dusted off once in a while.
You don't see a lot of teams running half-court offense plays much.
No. And especially where you've got two guys in the low post. A lot of times it's just one guy because they want to, like I said, spread the floor, things like that. And there's reasons for that, too. I mean, when you run a motion-based post-up, you got to have really good passers and really good decision-makers with that as well. And that was one of the things, I think, when we went to the dribble drive, it surprised me a little bit. We actually had less turnovers with that offense than we did with our motion-based, post offense. And it does. It's kind of surprising, but that's really what happened for us.
Okay. Gene?
Coach, how about your assistants for this year?
Well, I said Cooper already. He's back teaching at Auburndale. Makes me feel a little old, but he's right down the hall, and he's been a great help. He's really, really good with the kids, and obviously knows exactly what I want. And a lot of times he'll say things that I'm a little late on. I'm going to say it, and he's beat me to it. And Coach Mike Gerke, who's also my varsity assistant, those guys are just invaluable to me. And then Josh Van Scoik is our JV2 coach. He's a tremendous teacher and coach as well. He played for me on the 2015 state qualifying team. And then Matt Klitter, who played under Coach Anderson as well and is a special ed teacher at the high school. So great staff. I think it's the third year that whole group's been together. Just can't say enough good things about them.
Oh, it sounds good. Your ball club will be back in action, I believe, on Friday against the Newman Cardinals in Warsaw.
Yep, up to Newman we go.
Well, good luck in that game and throughout the season.
Thank you, guys.
You bet.
Auburndale High School basketball coach Chad Weinfurter joining us on our high school boys basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. Larry Hazer on Thursday mornings for his Two Guys on Sports program. He and Dick Olson talk about the world of sports every Thursday morning, 9:30 on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and WOSQFM.com. Marshfield Tiger basketball coach Chris Fisher joins us with his comments on Tiger basketball as our boys basketball preview program continues in just a moment.
Man, that furnace is just going down and retirement's not working out how we wanted to have it happen. What can we do?
Let's see what Donnie has to say.
At Citizens Financial Services, located at Citizens State Bank, we specialize in developing unique plans for our clients to provide guidance in retirement. A customized plan starts with your goals, your needs, paired with a well-thought-out strategy to address those goals.
I think this is going to work.
To set up a time, call me, Donnie Snyder, at 715-486-8151.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
Team members in our lives, whether it's this or that or friends, and he's my team member that looked for my best interest. And he said, we're going to get you up walking without the walker. And I'm like, oh, really? And he says, yeah, we are. I'm really grateful from the bottom of my heart to Shai and his staff because they made the impossible seem possible.
Call to set up a free, no obligation evaluation. Next Step Prosthetics, the fit for you.
Tired of hearing about checking account features? So are we. It's more about what you can do with your money to live the life you want. Forward Bank puts your access to everything you need in the palm of your hand. Mobile deposit, recurring digital payments, transfer funds, or pay a friend easily. Yes, our checking is free and includes all that you would expect. It's supported by your neighbors and friends at Forward, dedicated to serving our communities. Open online today at forward.bank.
FDIC.
Come back to our boys basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. You're listening to our program this evening on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, Spencer, Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com, as well as Zaleski Sports.com. I'm Gene DeLisio. Mike Steinwagner now stopping by to join in our next interview with Marshfield Tiger basketball coach Chris Fisher. Coach, thanks for joining us and welcome to our program this evening.
Thanks, Gene. Thanks, Mike. Good to be here. Always a pleasure to cross paths with you guys.
And tell us about your start, how things have gone so far for the Tiger basketball team.
We're getting better, that's for sure. A little bit inconsistent start. First couple games where we had really good stretches where we played well, and then we had a couple stretches where we didn't. And it turns out we just needed more practice to get ourselves better, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Played really well last night. It's amazing what happens to our energy when the ball goes in the basket. We shot it well last night, and the confidence is getting a little bit higher. We played in a higher possession ball game last night, which is somewhat unusual for us, but anytime you play Eau Claire North, the possessions are going to be up. So coming off that game last night, we had a good practice today, and we've got to prepare ourselves for a really good DC Everest team coming to our place on Friday night.
Well, of course, a great season last year, taking second place at the WYAA Division I boys basketball tournament. Before we get to this year, can you kind of reflect on last season and what that wonderful season means to you and your staff?
Yeah, that was incredibly special. It confirmed what I had thought or started to think, probably dating back to our first conference championship team in 2022. We had thought at that time, the way things were playing out, where we started to compete with the upper echelon teams in our sectional in the state, we kind of thought to ourselves that the best that Marshfield basketball had was state championship worthy. And it was confirmed with our play throughout the next couple of years, culminating in that game last year. That state championship game is still a tough one to swallow for me. I think it's a tough one to swallow for a lot of our guys. It's a game that I've thought about every day since it's taken place, and I'll probably think about it at some point every day for the rest of my life. But I've talked myself into, if I'm going to think about the disappointment of that, I'm also going to think about what led us to get there. A lot of great performances. The semifinal win against Wanakee, the sectional final against Kimberly, Oakland Memorial, the regional final against Point, where one possession either way, and all of a sudden, we might not get out of the regionals, but there were so many great performances up to that point. I'm proud of how we performed down at the state level, down in, on the stage. Our guys were ready to go both games against Madison. I'm really proud of how we played, and it was a truly memorable performance from us by a memorable group of seniors.
Coach, before we get to this year's team, I want to ask you one other question. And I've been here since 1985.
Yeah.
You, I think, are probably a few years younger than Joe Konieczny.
I am, yes.
In 1985, basketball here at both schools was kind of marginal. They were okay.
Yep.
Not winless, but not going to win a conference championship in either school. So, in your lifetime, what has changed in Marshfield to make basketball such a good sport, so successful not only in your school, but across down the other school as well?
Boy, that's a really good question. I don't know how to appropriately answer that. Like, if I had to think just within my time of being in the Marshfield program or remembering it, my first memories of Marshfield basketball date back to 1992, that first conference championship team. That's kind of my first memory, is going to those games. From that point on, Marshfield has had ebbs and flows of good players, good teams. You get a conference championship here, and then you got to wait 7, 8, 9 years before you get your next one. You've had good players, but then you'd always run into, Stevens Point went on their run, and back in the old days of the Valley with 9 schools, Antigo had really good teams, and Rhinelander had really good teams, and Wausau East had really good teams, and you can never consistently get over that hump. And I don't know if it's just a perfect storm where everything just kind of falls in place. If you look at what Coach Lutke did with the football program, caught lightning in a bottle and then extended it through a decade. that's what we're trying to do now here at Marshfield. Let's use the momentum of what we've built these last 4 years, where we've been privileged to have really good committed players, really good committed families as well, which is a huge aspect. Committed families, committed parents. And you try to just keep that momentum going year after year after year, and you try to get your youth programs excited. You try to get the youngsters ready to go. And so really good question, and I don't know if there's a good answer to it, and I'm not even sure if I answered it for you, Gene, but we're trying to use the momentum of what we've got into a consistent, sustained program where we're just continuing to improve.
I'm sure it's a pleasure for you to hear people around the state talk about Marshfield as a strong basketball community.
Yeah, it really is. When we started as a staff 5 or 6 years ago, we're trying to build on what was built in previous coaches. Like Scott Scheuer and Bill Zeiker and Craig Michaels and dating back to Gordy Sisson. Like, there were good pieces there for us. And it was easy to build something quickly. We're trying to build something that's going to last here. So the people that came a long time before us did a lot of good things. And what we've been able to do these last 4 years, it's been incredibly special for us. And I know we're proud of the graduating seniors, the graduating classes that we've had so far. And we're just trying to continue to improve our program, looking for ways all the time to get better. I love the group that we've got this year. I'm really excited about what I see from our JV teams as well. So we're trying to turn Marshfield basketball into a long-sustaining program.
Well, let's talk about this year's ball club and your thoughts about some of these young men on this team this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've got significant talent. We've got some really good players. And when you can bring back 3 talented guys in Chris Pohl, Valen Ramberg, and Cam Kolstad, who saw significant minutes in a high-intensity, high-leverage state championship game, and they were ready. They didn't back down. And when you can bring those 3 back to kind of as your foundation and your leaders this year, you've got a chance to be really good. We're probably a little bit behind offensively than we are defensively, even though last night's game was kind of the reverse of that. We were better offensively than we were defensively. But normally earlier in the year, defensively, you should be stronger, and offensively, you're trying to work on integrating your new players. You're trying to see what you've got and some of the young guys you've got on your roster. You're trying to find guys that can knock down shots and make plays on the offensive end. But when you can start with Chris, Val, and Cam, those are 3 really good pieces.
Some very talented ball players there. How about some other young men on your ball club who will stand out this year?
So in addition to those 3 guys, Vetter McTaggart, Ben Jordan, Nick Hansen are 3 other seniors, so we got 5 seniors this year to build from. Each of them have had their moments so far, and we're working on the consistency piece with all of us. But Vetter was really good last night. Vetter can flat out shoot it. He got us rolling early from the opening tip. The opening tip came to him, and he took 2 dribbles and found himself open. He let it fly and knocked it in, and we kind of got on a roll from there. Ben Jordan has been a really nice player for us off the bench. Very active on the offensive glass, a really good athlete, really good rim runner, very good defender as well. So Ben's found his role nicely. Nick Hansen, really great job defensively last night guarding Eau Claire North's point guard and Tyler Barrows, who was averaging almost 21 points a game and held him to 9. And I know the 9 points that he got last night, Nick's upset about how he got those points. But, those 3 guys with our 5 seniors, Will Ketterer and Trevin Fries are part of our junior group, along with Cam. So the 5 seniors, those 3 juniors there, Will and Trevin are, still working on our roles with those 2 guys. They had nice performances last night as well. And we got 3 sophomores on our team this year. Levi Jansen guard player for us, has the ability to knock down some shots. And, two really good athletes in Derek Agna and Gavin Larson. Those two guys as freshmen were at the state track meet, which is rare to get two freshmen at the Division I track meet, Derek Agna in the high jump and Gavin in the 100-meter dash. So when you have those two type of athletes, state championship level athletes, state tournament level athletes, those guys can take big jumps in a hurry in terms of their skill in other sports. So they're progressing nicely. But as a group, all 11 of us, we just need to be more consistent.
Coach, I have to be honest with you and tell you that when we sat here a year ago, and you had some very good talent coming back from the previous season.
A lot of it, yeah.
Yep. And I said, I was going to say, I never did, but I was going to say, Coach, your ball club should be even better this coming season because you got all that talent back, plus Vetter McTaggart, who on the JV level 2 years ago was just a man among boys. He was just kicking people all over the floor.
Yeah.
And Vetter never had the chance to progress as well he would like last year. But now it's his time to really come up and be a good ball player for you.
Yes. Vetter had some really good performances at the JV team as a sophomore. So when you have his specific skill on your varsity squad, you're trying to find a spot for that. And we had so much in front of Vetter, right? We had such a talented group. And you can't play everybody. It's really difficult to do that consistently. We were going to lean on our seniors last year, but what happened with all of those guys that were on that team last year, what happened with Nick and Vetter and Ben is they were able to practice against Brooks Hinson, Landon Lee, Chris, Valen. Our practices were probably some of the best games we played all year. When we would split up, Brooks would take his team, Landon would take his team. We'd have 7 on a squad, and we'd get up and down for 10, 15 minutes. Those were some of the best games we had all year. And Vetter and Ben and Nick were a part of those. So seeing the progression from the first 2 to 3 weeks of our practices now into week 4, week 5, into game 4 and game 5 with a guy like Vetter, that's what we're excited about. We're happy with where we're at, but I'm really excited about what we could be.
You mentioned Landon and Brooks last year, outstanding guard play in your ball club last year. How does your guard play shape up for this year?
Well, it's certainly different. Brooks and Landon had the ball in their hands probably 90 to 95% of our offensive possession. Time of possession, ball's going to be in their hands. This year, we don't really, Cam Kolstad's our primary ball handler. Guys look to him, dead ball situation where you've got to bring it full court. He's going to be the guy to do it. But we've had games this year where we've been able to get a defensive rebound. Whoever's got that rebound has been able to bring the ball up the floor. We don't designate spots. We don't designate positions. We don't, pigeonhole a guy into saying, you're our point guard. You've always got to bring the ball up the floor. You're always our post. Should be free-flowing. Instincts take over. You get a defensive rebound and you have the ability to bring the ball up the floor, go ahead and do that. If we've got teams that want to pressure us in the full court, let's see if we can find maybe their weakest defender, and he's guarding, he could bring the ball up the floor. But Cam's kind of stepped into that lead role a little bit. Nick's starting to, being a secondary guy. Levi can come off the bench and do that. Chris and Valen will take turns bringing the ball up. So we've got more of a mixed bag of ball handlers this year than we did last year with Brooks and Landon.
All right. Well, Mike Steinwagner is standing by, eager to ask some exciting questions about Tiger basketball. Mike?
Chris, I know you mentioned, with Chris and also Val, you don't find many 6'7" guys sitting 18 feet out or 20 feet out and taking that three, and it's actually a big weapon.
It is.
And I'll tell you, Cam, watching him last year coming off and learning from Landon, that he has become a better guard. I've watched a couple of your ball games this year, and he has improved immensely over last year.
Yeah.
And he, I think that his breakout game was actually in the state tournament last year, and that I think was a big plus right there, and that gave him the confidence.
So your first point about Chris and Valen, obviously their ability to play on the perimeter is a huge weapon, and it can be. You create a lot of difficult matchups for the opposition, not sure how to guard us. Do you guard Chris and Val with a smaller type, or do you guard them with more size? At times, I think Chris and Valen maybe tend to float on the perimeter a little bit too much. I'd like to see them get down the block every now and then. Eau Claire North was double teaming us on every catch last night. Chris was really good at seeing over the top. Chris has got really good hands, really good feet, and he's a really good passer.
Sure.
Valen is really good when he's in attack mode, catching it on the perimeter after a ball swing, ball reversal. He can take baseline. He can attack down the rail.
Exactly, and I've noticed that lately where he's going to the hoop more, and a couple reverse layups in there. And you don't find a 6'7" guy doing that.
And he's got to pick his spots a little bit better, but he's getting better at that. And then to your second point about Cam Colstead, what I remember about Cam from last year is this. So all throughout last year, Cam as a sophomore, practicing against Brooks and Landon, struggling with his shot in the middle of the season. He had a couple good games early, good game at La Crosse Central where he was knocking down shots, but his outside shot was struggling. And the message that I kept telling him, and we kept telling him together, Cam, you hurt us more by not shooting than you do by missing. So make sure you keep, when you're open, you got to knock it down.
Exactly.
You have the confidence to knock it down. We get in the playoffs. He doesn't play 1 second in the sectional semis against Eau Claire Memorial. Not 1 second. Not by design. It's Brooks, Landon, and Joey were so stinking good in that Eau Claire Memorial game, there was no reason to take him out of the game. Brooks in the first half and all game, Landon all game. Joey was guarding that Headkey kid, that lefty shooter, and didn't let him get a shot off and then knocked down a big one himself. No reason. What happens in the sectional final? Landon Lee gets in foul trouble.
Yep.
And who comes off the bench for huge minutes? And that shot that he hit in the second half, I think you
Oh,
saw the confidence
you
go.
betcha. It shot him right there.
And then state semis against Wanakee, he's jumping passing lanes, breakaway steal and layup. He's attacking baseline. And then we couldn't score against Wisconsin Lutheran, and he comes off the bench when we're down 13-2 and bangs in 2 threes. So for the maturity that he showed for not playing a second against Eau Claire Memorial into having his 3 best games on the biggest stage tells me everything I need to know about.
But you know, there's times too where sitting on the bench and watching and learning helps a ball player also.
He was tremendous. After that game against Eau Claire Memorial, I think I said something to a locker room. It's like, Cam, I didn't put you in the game. There was no reason behind it. He goes, Coach, I'm good. I'll be ready to go. And he was.
Going into, and I brought this up when I emceed when you guys came back from state last year, but in the last 4 years, and I think a lot of it has to do with the coaching, when you ask the question of, why is it joining together now where Joey's got a great ball club, you've got a great ball club, and all of a sudden, but if you look at this, in the last 4 years, the 4 years that you've been state or conference champions, your record right now with the Valley win is 48-1.
I remember
48-1 the last time, and you'll remember this, that was a double overtime with Stevens Point.
It was.
But you're actually carrying right now in the Wisconsin Valley, and I have so much time on my hands, but it turns out that you have won 27 straight conference games in that period, and actually you have a home winning streak of 25 straight conference wins on the floor, and you've got a big one coming up this Friday night. And actually looking at your schedule, down the line here, you've got DC Everest, you've got River Falls, who's ranked, you've got Wanakee, who's a very good ball club, and then right after that, you've got Nina in there also, and then you get Point at home. So it's a tough schedule, but the thing is, it's going to make you a better ball club.
We do that intentionally. We try to schedule the best programs we can find, program-wide. It's not just, we don't want to compete against our varsity. We want to compete against all of their levels. We want JVs to go at each other. We want the JV2s to go at each other. That's always by design. Being centrally located, we can go every direction. We can go east, we can go west, we can go south. We're not afraid to travel. We also take that as a little bit of a badge of honor because some of these schools that we play, they have a premium on non-conference games, like the Fox Valley schools, the guys in the FVA, the Ninas, Appleton East, the Kimberleys. They've only can schedule 6 non-conference games, and they always want to play the best. So the fact that they're willing to play us, a little bit of a badge of honor. But the big one Friday night is against DC Everest. We've had a lot of close calls in the conference. I know you threw some stats out there. I always borrowed a page out of Coach Lutke's book in the football squad. He said every conference game is a conference championship game. He talked, the football metaphor was footballs, there's 120 plays. You never know which one could be the difference.
Yep.
So in a basketball game, every conference game we play, we treat it as a conference championship game, and we found that to have some success. Everest is really, really good. They've got 3 returning starters, and Vander Truax, Xavier Edwards, and Cade Felch. They're coming off a big win against Wausau West last Friday. Coach Shallow, first year at Everest, but 6-7 years ago when he's at Merrill, and we're playing them 3 times a year because we were in D2 that year. He had really good Merrill teams, guys that can attack, guys that can shoot it. They're playing at a very, very high level right now, so we need to make sure that we're ready to go for tonight.
I've got one more question, and looking at your roster, and it's totally amazing you can have this, you've got a JV2 and you got a JV3 team, and you've got 17 freshmen that are going to be moving up next year if they stay with the program. I mean, do you see some potential ball players out of that freshman class that will move in as sophomores next year?
I certainly hope so. We've got to see how they develop. One of the nice parts about those graduating seniors from last year, basketball was their number 1 sport, so they were very focused on the game of basketball. We've got multi-sport athletes in those groups of juniors and sophomores and freshmen. They'd like to do a lot of different things, which is great. We want them to play every sport they can. We've got to see how their basketball talent and the basketball skill develops. But we're happy and excited that their athletic skill is going to continue to build playing multiple sports.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Yep. Coach, how about your coaching staff for this year?
So, a little bit of a change in our coaching staff. Brian Favorite's back again as assistant varsity coach. He's been doing this for a long time, probably close to 25, 30 years now. He's our assistant varsity coach. Jake Shepler's back as our JV coach. He's been a tremendous asset to us. Kids love him. We've got to change the JV2 and JV3 this year. Preston Wagner's our JV2 coach. Remember, Preston graduated 2018, 2019. He's teaching the district now. He's doing our JV2. And then JV3's Mark Meverden.
I did see that, Mark's back. Yeah.
Mark's back. He had, obviously, his daughter Hannah and then 2 sons, Isaac and Sam, played through our program. The reason for that is Josh Roshite, who's been our JV2 coach for a long time, he's on active military duty. He's over in Kuwait right now. I actually exchanged a few messages with him today. He's still on staff. He's doing some scouting for us because he's got a little downtime when he's in his office after he gets his work done. So he's watching a lot of film, and he's coming up with scouting reports. And Tanner Boson had some work obligations owning the Boson company now. He's got to travel a little bit too much. But we're leaving the door open for both of those guys to return in the future if they could. So.
I'm not sure Mark's coached before, has he?
Mark's done some coaching with our youth programs. He's he coached his children's teams on the way up. In the last couple of years, he's had a group of boys that he's kind of ushered through for 2-3 years in our youth program. So
you talked about seeing that 92 team. That was about his era.
He's a little older than that. He's actually older than Coach Fravor. He's the grandpa on our staff.
Okay.
So we make sure to tell him that every day, too.
And your ball club, again, has that big ball game on Friday night with DC Everest at the Fieldhouse, 7:15 game time.
Yes. Should be a good one. All fans come on out and support us. Should be a very good ball game.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks for coming by, and good luck this season.
Thanks, Gene. Thanks, Mike. Roll Tigers.
Marshfield Tiger basketball coach Chris Fisher with us as our boys basketball coaches program continues at Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield, brought to us by Sweats Country Corner Mart and BP Gas in Blinker. All the comforts of a convenience store off that new Highway 10 exit in downtown Blinker. Columbus Dons basketball coach Joe Konieczny joins us as our program continues following these messages.
They left me home the holiday season, but the sales are huge. I can only imagine those creeps will be around.
There it is, Marv. Mittens Furniture, Appliances, and Mattresses. That's the crown jewel.
Minton's holiday savings must be protected. No chickening out now, Kevin.
Wow! GE Cafe, what a fridge, Harry. I'm really liking the stressless recliner, Marv.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals!
So, after a couple years of this, it's time for more money and better opportunities. That's where Mid-State Technical College comes in. Are you a born leader? Is hospitality your thing? Maybe you're into efficiency. Or do you love building teams? No matter your path, we've got cutting-edge classes with field-trained professionals and better tuition options. So stop getting by and level up today.
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Freer, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflatiri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you.
What do you like most about Columbus Catholic Schools?
Amazing teachers, because they're funny and nice.
It's the small classroom sizes.
Because it teaches us to be kind.
We invite you to check out Columbus Catholic Schools and see for yourself why our students like it here. That if you really want your student to attend Columbus Catholic Schools, we will work with you as much as possible to make that reality. Contact us at 715-387-1177 or admissions@columbusdons.org for more information.
I'm Gene Delisio. Our next guest is Columbus Dons basketball coach Joe Konieczny. Coach, thanks for coming by. Welcome to our program for this evening.
Thank you for having me. I always really enjoy this.
Well, tell us about the start of your season at Columbus High School.
We've won our first four. We have a lot of experience back. Lost two seniors last year. Sam Dooms was a really big piece of what we did, so working hard on replacing him. One of our seniors, Caleb Hilgeman, came into the season with a football injury. I'm hoping to get him back over the next few weeks. Besides Caleb, we have 5 other seniors. Devlin Timler, quarterback of the football team. Matt Konieczny also played football. Davis Vintage played football. Cade Jansen, who is a really good soccer player. And then Jack Kolbeck, who's 6'6" and has really made some progress in the offseason. Those guys are joined by 4 juniors. Carter Summer, who's grown to 6'7", has done a really good job for us. Ben Weiland, Elijah Wolf, and Ray Becker. So we have a good core that's going to develop a lot, I think, over the course of the season. But the first month has been encouraging as far as what the potential could be.
Lost some good talent from last year's ball club. How about trying to replace some of those young men who left last year?
Well, Sam was probably the best defensive player we've had in quite some time. We got a few this year that are close, but he had size, he had physicality. Did a lot of the things that don't get noticed in a stat sheet as far as diving on loose balls and rebounding, and just was a really good player for us. So from a physical standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, he's been hard to replace.
How about some of the characteristics this year? Do things change a whole lot in terms of what you feel you can do well on the floor this year?
I think it's one of the best defensive teams we've had. You know, we're playing a lot of man-to-man and really getting up on people. We have some guards in Mac and Cade that can really defend the other team's best perimeter threats. They've done a really good job on some talented players so far this season. You know, I think it's an unselfish group. There's not an attitude. There's not anybody that worries about their stats or how many points they score. They seriously just want to succeed as a collective group of 10, and it's been a lot of fun to be around.
You mentioned Carter, very athletic young man, now at 6'7", and how does that change the way you approach things? You have an athletic big guy you can use all over the floor.
Yeah, and he's skilled too. So he's done some great work on the interior. I think he had a 15 rebound game in the Cranberry. He's averaging 10 or 11 a game. We put him in the middle of a press. You know, he can catch it with size and see over the defense and find the guards we have who are really quick and skilled. So yeah, he's a key piece, and he does a lot of the things that Sam did last year as far as not showing up in a stat sheet. So definitely a big piece for us.
Well, you certainly have some good talent on the ball club this year. It seems like it's been building. You know, it looks like every year you seem to replace good talent with more good talent over there.
Yeah, we have, I think our youth program is really solid. You know, we've always had good youth coaches, and we start them, I think, kindergarten on Saturday mornings. And I think the continuity of having a staff that's been there a long time. It's my 21st season, so the expectations are kind of known, and we put a ton of time in. We can shoot it really well, but we have a lot of young men that spend a lot of time on that in the summer, and then in the mornings during the season, and I think it pays off for them. And it's a great life lesson that when you're going to put that much time into something, you get rewarded for it, and I think that's what happened.
Well, I asked Coach Fisher this question. I'll ask this of you as well. When I came here in 1985, both Columbus and Marshfield High School were marginal in basketball. Some good years, some bad years, mostly about 500. And certainly you're a few years older than Coach Fisher, but starting with about your playing career and moving on, basketball in this town certainly has improved dramatically. Anything you can think of as to why that improvement has taken place and has made this more of a basketball community?
I think it's a sports community. We had Walt Kroll at Columbus, Coach Lutke at Marshfield. What those two did in the football realm was absolutely outstanding. I think Coach Fisher would probably tell you he learned a lot from Coach Lutke, a football coach, and I would say the same thing about Coach Kroll. Personally at Columbus, we had a coach named Andy Banasic who took over, I think, early 90s, and he's a mentor to this day. He kind of developed the youth program at that time. His assistant was a guy named Kevin Orr, who's now at Rice Lake, who I stay in touch with both those guys. I think they're both in the Hall of Fame, WBCA, have become really great friends. So we were fortunate at Columbus to have some guys that really laid the foundation. And then, what I learned from them is still, I think, in our program to a large extent. And now we have some alumni on staff and coaching in our youth program where it's kind of a snowball picking up steam going downhill, and it's been a lot of fun.
I will say this, you probably laugh at me, but I don't think you will. No, I don't think you will. But I've always believed of all the coaches I've worked with in Marshfield, both at Columbus High School and Marshfield High School, the most underrated was Mike Ellens.
He was very good. He was there for 5 years.
And he really began to build. He won those two WISA championships that began to really build at that point.
Yeah, and I think he would tell you he learned a lot from Coach Kroll also. Coach Kroll died in '95. I think Coach Ellens had been there a few years, was there when he passed away. We had some outstanding athletes that I played with. Richie Swabert played 10 years in the NFL. Jason Linsmeyer scored 1,000 points on a basketball scholarship. A kid named Mike Weister was a point guard. I think he was a football scholarship kid. And then guys like me got to stand in the corner and take open shots because all the attention was on those guys, and it was a lot of fun. But I think that's kind of when the young people at our school started to really like basketball. And Coach Ellens did a lot with the youth camps, and kind of gets forgotten sometimes. And Scott Pollins after him, Ron Wilczek. We've had really good coaches at Columbus that laid the foundation for what we have now, for sure.
How about the new building? How's that working out for you?
It's been awesome. It provides access. We practice every day at 3 o'clock. There's not 10 kids on a hoop anymore in line. Our youth comes in at 5:15. They're there till about 6:30, 6:45. It allows me to walk down the middle and touch base with the youth coaches whenever we need something. And the access has been the biggest thing. On top of that, we've hosted a number of volleyball, basketball tournaments. The Elks Hoop Shoot was last weekend. Special Olympics is in there every Wednesday night. I let them in tonight. So I think it's made a difference in the community, which was the whole point of it, and we're very, very proud of it.
Well, glad to see. I've been in there a couple of times. Very nice building, and certainly a very big asset to the community. You're right in that situation.
Yeah, that was the point, and the community support for that is what made it happen. So I think it's a responsibility that we have to make sure that it impacts the community, and we're working very hard to do that.
Well, Larry Hazer is here. He sees your ball club in the Eastern Cloverbelt Conference. Let's get some questions from Larry.
Unfortunately, sometimes, we see him. No, that's a good team. But you mentioned some of your guys play football. Some of them play soccer as well as basketball. And you mentioned Coach Kroll and how he had an influence. How is that a big thing with playing well in football and now that carries over into basketball?
It's huge. I tell people all the time, having multi-sport athletes is the biggest thing you can have as a high school coach. And the year we won the state championship, we had 10 boys. We had 9 seniors on that team in MAC who got most of the minutes. And those 10 kids played 27 sports. I think 6 of them played 3 sports, or 7 played 3 sports, and 3 played 2 sports. But I looked it up the other day. And what that does is, some of those kids had been at state baseball 2 years prior, and they succeeded and they failed. lost a heartbreaking game, and they had competed in so many different areas that by the time they get to a sectional final or at the free throw line, there's no more fear of failure. And when you have a one-sport athlete or a two-sport athlete and you get that one and done once a year, it doesn't build the same mental toughness. It doesn't build the same character. So I cannot be more happy when our athletes are in fall sports, which I think all of our athletes were. Most of them are also in a spring sport. So you look back when you're my age, and it's pretty cool that you got to play 3 sports with your friends. And at 22, even if you're playing college, we're all getting jobs. So let's create as many memories as we can in 3 sports, and it really builds a sense of camaraderie, for your school. I'm the basketball player, but I need the football player to help me, and the football player needs you to help him, Mac, and the baseball player needs both of you to help him. And that's kind of the philosophy at our school, and we have 32 boys out. They all play multiple sports, and it's a huge thing just from a development standpoint as a person and as an athlete.
You talked about that youth program. I know when people come into Columbus to watch a game, one of the things that really impresses them is some of the halftimes when you bring them youth out, and you're the guy out there doing all the drills. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's my favorite part of the job. I love the games. I love you get to the state tournament, but when you're in the gym on Saturday and there's 100 of them, looking at you like, I want to work on my left hand today. And we have 2 rules, do your best and have as much fun as humanly possible. And it's really the same 2 rules we have in high school. Have fun and do your best. And make sure that when you look back, it was something that was fun and beneficial, and you got the most out of it you could. And that's really why we do this.
Obviously, you don't have a hard time getting the kids to buy into being a part of that program. There's a lot of kids out there.
Yeah, we have really good numbers right now in our program. Double digits all the way down, a couple classes with 17, 18 boys out. And they're excited to be part of it. And I think our youth coaches do a really good job of developing everyone. We've tried to, for 20 years now, the tallest kid in 5th grade isn't going to be the tallest one in high school most of the time. So we're all guards. We're all going to be able to dribble and shoot. And if you get to 6'7", we'll figure it out then. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I know that's one of the things they said in baseball, too, was everybody should pitch.
Yes, I agree.
You can weed them out after that.
Too many pitchers.
Right.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Coach, how about your staff for this year?
Well, we have 3 former players. Jared Mandel is our JV coach. He was on the 2019 team. He's a social studies teacher for our middle school. Charles Payant and Will Boyer. Charles 2017 and Will 2019 also were on teams that made it to the Cole Center. They do our JV too. And then our varsity assistant is Scott Scheuer, who's been a really good friend for 8 to 10 years. Coached at Marshfield High School for a while. He's a phenomenal coach and a really good strength and conditioning coach, and has made a real difference in our program from a defensive standpoint and from an offensive standpoint. Just a kind of a film junkie, and he's really made a big difference. So I'm very, very happy to have the staff we have.
I should ask you, speaking of Scott, what does it mean to your program to have a guy who has such expertise in strength and conditioning on your staff?
It's huge. The difference he's made in the way we play defense is, you can see it. It's night and day. 2 years ago, we won a state championship with offense. We scored 80 points a game and gave up 70 to 75 right through the state championship game. And looking at what we had coming back, if we were going to try to get to that level again, we had to be better defensively. At that time, he was kind of in retirement, and he had reached out and said, hey, if you want help. He came in and did our summer strength and conditioning. We talked basketball a lot, and when he said, oh, I'd love to be on your staff, and I had asked him, probably 17 or 18 times, he finally said yes. But he does the first 30 minutes of practice. It's all defense. It's all warm-up. It's all injury prevention. It's all the things that he's an expert at. He's in our weight room every morning at 6:15 for the 6th grade through 12th grade, and got a 2 or 3 day a week program, and it's made a huge difference at our school. I cannot say enough about that man.
Well, it's good to hear that. Coach, congratulations on your great success and your next ball game tomorrow against Gilman at your place.
Thank you for the coverage, guys. Really appreciate it.
Happy to do that, and good luck this season. That's Columbus Dons basketball coach Joe Konechny with us on our boys basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. By the way, the basketball schedule coming up on Friday evening in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, Marshfield Tigers and D.C. Everest at the Fieldhouse in Marshfield at 7:15. Wausau East at Wisconsin Rapids. Stevens Point at Wausau West. In the Marywood South on Friday, Stratford at Edgar. Auburndale at Newman. Marathon at Assumption. In the Marywood North, Athens at Abbotsford, Rib Lake at Phillips, and Shawamigan at Prentice. In the Great Northern Conference, Medford is at Mosinee, Merrill at Tomahawk, Northland Pines at Rhinelander, Antigo at Lakeland in a non-conference game on Friday. Pittsville meets Greenwood Granton at Greenwood. We'll come back with more of our boys basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 in just a moment.
High school.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
Meet your friends at Schmitty's on Main. It's a great place to meet and even better place to eat. Schmitty's on Main is open Tuesday through Sunday with daily specials for breakfast, lunch, and their classic Friday fish fry. Sunday lunch always features their signature chicken dinner. Let Schmitty's take care of your next event or ask them about their banquet hall. Stop by Schmitty's today. You'll never be disappointed or go away hungry. Call a friend and make plans to meet at Schmitty's on Main, 436 Hewitt Street in Neillsville. The new Gross Motors Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram Truck Showroom and Service Center is now open. Check out the new Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram Showroom, Lounge, and Service Center. Rows and rows of vehicles, the best selection around, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you through the buying process. Gross Motors in Neillsville now has the largest Chevy, Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealership in central Wisconsin, all in one spot on Highway 10 in Neillsville.
Take your valuable possessions from outdoors to indoors with help from ShedsDelivered.com. It's your one-stop shop for sheds, barns, cabins, garages, greenhouses, chicken coops, and hunting blinds, all crafted by skilled Amish artisans. Headquartered in Loyal, Rod and April make it easy. Just visit ShedsDelivered.com to design your perfect structure. With short lead times and free delivery and installation, Sheds Delivered is the smart choice for outdoor storage. That's ShedsDelivered.com. Go today.
Welcome to Coach on a Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski. Coach on a Couch brought to you today by Grassland Butter. Find exciting and rewarding career opportunities available now at grassland.com. Talking today with Spencer boys basketball coach Charles Jennings. Coach, it's your third year at Spencer. Tell us your connection to Spencer and 3 years. Why have you kept coming back to coach the boys in Spencer?
So I enjoy coaching for one. My connection with Spencer is actually through my wife. So she's been teaching in Spencer since 1995. And then I think it was 5 years ago, middle school position opened up. So I applied for that. And then I think 1 year after that, I coached JV for a year, and then the varsity position opened up. So I applied for that and got that. And I just enjoy coaching the boys and, teaching them basketball. And yeah, that's kind of the story. So
give you a chance to put the bow on the 2024-2025 season. You had a handful of seniors on that team, had an above 500 record, had a playoff win, so some good memories. What are your memories with those seniors and how they helped to build your program now after they're gone?
Yeah, so we had Tyler Peterson and Madden Prabilski as seniors last year. And then we had a foreign exchange student that was a sophomore that kind of helped out a lot. Didn't expect that, but the leadership that they provided to our current players now, I think is fantastic. I think a lot of the kids learned from that. They contributed some as well on the court. They didn't get a lot of minutes just because we had other guys that, deserve more playing time and whatnot. But I really appreciated the way that they handled themselves and the maturity that they had on the team and whatnot. And yeah, they led by example, and certainly appreciative of that. So.
All right, let's talk about this year's team and maybe some expectations for the 2025-26 Rockets. I find it interesting how coaches build their schedule and navigate through the end of the year. When practice starts to the end of the year, you've got 3 holidays: Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, a lot of time for kids to go off and wander over there and forget what they learned in practice. What's your strategy with these kids for the first 2 months of the season?
Well, I think I'm kind of blessed this year because a lot of the kids have been with me for a few years now. So, they for the most part understand it, what we're trying to do offensively and defensively, and the kids coming up through middle school and whatnot, they've kind of got a little bit of a grasp to it. So it's not, they don't know everything about it, but it's better than it has been in the past when they come in with a blank stare sometimes. So yeah, the breaks are tough. We actually play in a holiday tournament over Christmas to keep the guys going a little bit there. So I think that helps. We started doing that 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, and we usually have about 7 days of practice, and then we play our first game, which is always interesting. So I think for every coach that you got 7 days to get things ready, and you hope it gets off to a good start. So yeah.
Let's talk about some bigger picture goals that you have for these guys. I'll save you from saying that you're going to go to state. If 4 teams go to state, maybe you will. But what do you want to get accomplished with this group of kids this basketball season?
Well, first and foremost, I want them to enjoy it. We've got, I believe, 6 seniors this year, so it's their last year of high school ball. I want them to enjoy it. We're playing a tough conference, so our goal is just to go out there and play our best every night. Do what we can defensively, do what we can offensively, and leave the rest up to God, really. And what will be, I guess. But the effort has to be there, and they put time in. They're putting time in at practice, throughout the school year here too. So, yeah, that's kind of the game plan, is just do the best we can with what we have, and live with it.
Let's talk about your home court advantage. I think you've got a real distinct and unique advantage. It's a loud place. It's an arena style format for a high school gym. How do you and the guys value the home games?
Well, they probably value it a little more than I do. You made the comment that it's loud, so it's difficult for opposing teams to communicate, but sometimes it's hard for us to communicate as well. So it can be an advantage and a disadvantage at times, really. Luckily for me, the guys have been with me a few years now, so they kind of understand what's expected, even if we don't get that communication in. So I'd really love to see a lot more people at the games, right? We stress that in the parent meetings every year. Like, hey, let's get everybody out here, and really cause a ruckus. So, but everybody has other things going on too, and I understand that. So.
Yeah, well, I'll just say it on your behalf, Coach. There's no excuse. It's a beautiful facility. Get down there and watch these kids play. We'll come back to that towards the end of the interview, though. Give you a chance to advertise a team once again.
Sure.
Let's talk about your conference, Clover Belt East. You'll have a crossover game at the end. That's kind of a fun one before playoffs start. But your conference mates that have kind of run things for a while, Neillsville and Columbus Catholic. Where do the Spencer Rockets? Where do you think they rank in that conference? Where do you fit? Where do you want to fit?
Where do we want to fit? Well, we want to fit at the top, competing against the best, right? I do feel like we've got a good team this year, that we should be able to do that. But as it stands, Columbus is at the top, right? And I don't think it's fair to them. I think they've earned it in the past, and I don't think it's fair to them to take them down from there without doing it on the court. So Neillsville's also got a great team. They're tall, lanky, play some tenacious defense. So I expect them to do well. Owen Withy, they're always good. Loyal's got a bunch of seniors. They're going to be good. It's really going to be, I feel like it's going to be a battle. And I feel, like even Colby, they got a bunch of athletes down there too. They're going through a little bit of change. They lost some players last year. Their big man Hayes, then Miguel. That's going to be tough to replace, I think. But there's a lot of teams going through change too. And as coaches, we just do the best we can with what we have coming up and make adjustments from there. So, but it should be an interesting battle throughout the season.
Yeah, it's a tough mountain to climb. I mean, they're from
Oh,
top
it
to
is.
bottom. You've got a challenging conference, no doubt, and for
Yeah.
sure you want to be part of that challenge to the other teams as well. And tell us about your defensive philosophy. The way I see it, there's kind of two ways to go about it, or two ways that teams are going about it now. Let's see if we can win a game 40-38, or let's see if we can win a game 80-78. Where do you stand defensively with this group of guys?
I'd like to win the game 80-38, but I mean, that's just me, right? Yeah, we've gone through some changes defensively. We're in a conference that there's a lot of teams that like to shoot the three. Um, and I kind of feel like the team that makes the most layups probably going to win. Um, that said, a team can get hot and hit the three, but our philosophy is just first foremost, don't let them score. Well, we know that that's probably not going to happen, but that's a mentality that we try to instill in the kids. And then no layups after that, and just communicate and be able to close out and contest some shots from deep. So that's kind of where we're at with things this year. And we kind of have a taller team. Most of the team, anyways, is relatively tall and got good wingspan. So yeah, I mean, I think every team has to work on their help defense and whatnot. So that's part of it with us too. I mean, we got to be in position to help out, and if we don't do that, we are going to give up layups and uncontested drives there. So that's kind of where we stand with it. So.
Yeah, the analytics 10 years running now says threes and layups. That's it. Don't mess around with anything else. Get to the rim, all that kind of stuff. I mentioned the defense because you guys like you and I, we've got maybe a little better understanding of somebody sitting in the gym of the nuance of the defense usually. But what people, when they're watching these games, they hear the names of the kids who score. So I'll take the blame for you if you miss somebody. But who are some of those names that you think we're going to hear during the course of the season from the offensive viewpoint?
From the offensive viewpoint, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think probably got to start with Sam Beslick. He's returning senior, led the conference in scoring last year. I believe he led in rebounds too. I think he's got one triple double already this year, which is fantastic. Put up 27 the other night. And then our second returning scorer, Noah Anderson. I expect him to stay healthy this year, and that'll help us out a lot. And then Weston Neiman too. He's our third leading scorer. I think they were like a tenth of a point off from each other or something like that. But he was injured last year as well, so we kind of battled that injury bug last year. And then we got Brecken Miller who can light it up. I think he put up. I think his high game last year was 19 or something like that. But I mean, he can score from inside, outside too. Mathers McCone, looking for good things out of him this year. He's looked really good. And then Hezekiah Duda, kind of a little bit of a surprise. He's a sophomore, plays great defense, but he can knock it down and he can drive. So those are probably the main scoring threats, I guess. That's probably the main ones.
Yeah, and like I said, if somebody's got a complaint that coach missed a name, blame me. I put him on the spot for that. So send me the emails. I'll help you guys out. And of course, Brecken Miller is a play-by-play announcer's dream name to say. So
yeah, you guys like that name a lot. So that's great. I think he gets a kick out of that. So
well, good. We like calling the kids names. We like saying the names. That's one of the fun things that we get to do and make sure that people that can't be in the gym get to hear those names and see those kids around town and be part of the game in that way. One of the last things we'll talk about is such a long ways off from now, but it is something that gets brick by brick built during the season, and that's a playoff resume with computerized seating. Who you beat and who they beat and all these things come into play with that. But I look at your sectional this year, and you've got two conference opponents in there, Colby and Neillsville. Auburndale is in that group, and some other nice teams. Marathon in that group as well. So you'll have your work cut out for you there. What are, I guess, some of those in the near term? How will fans at home and watching the game? How do they know that as the season's going along that things that you're building those bricks with this team to be ready come playoff time, to be a sturdy house at that point.
Yeah, well, I think it's important that, we as a team learn from each game that we play, win or loss, take something from it positive and grow from there. It is a loaded sectional, I think. So it should be interesting. I do feel like we learned a lot from our Hurley game in the playoffs, round 2 of the regionals last year. We had the lead going into halftime and couldn't stop the one kid in the post. He was on the court telling our players, he goes, I never make these shots. Well, he made a lot of them against us and sent us home that night. But I think we learned a lot from that. We've been working a lot defensively based off that game alone too. So I think we're in a pretty good position to overcome that should we see it again. I think, isn't Bonduel in our?
Bonduel's in the other half section.
They're in the other one. Okay.
Yeah.
We'd have to get them in sectionals then. So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, the path to state is tough. If there's a time to do it, it's now. I think, we got some kids coming up next year too that are going to add to the group and help. But with this group of seniors and the team that we have, I expect us to compete. So hopefully conference goes well. There's always going to be something that gets in the way, and you have to overcome some adversity. Last year when we were playing without Weston Neiman and Noah Anderson, it put a little crunch on things, I guess. So we just hope and pray everybody stays healthy this year and that we play some of these teams full strength.
It's been a rallying cry for team sports for decades, Coach, and it's why not us? And it's been said so many times. And like I said, in your division, Division 4, there would be 4 that had said, why not us? And they will be standing on the floor of the Kohl Center in March. Long time to go between now and then. So I mentioned it before. We'll end on this note. I want to give you, again, one more chance to advertise to the folks that they need to come and support these boys, whether on the road or at home. Again, the Thunderdome in Spencer still has that new car smell. If you haven't been there, you got to get there. It's a fabulous place. The concessions are great. Everything about it is just so nice. Plus, you get to go watch a real quality basketball team in Spencer.
Yeah, we got to move up on that popcorn ranking, though. I don't think we're competing there right now. So I don't know. We'll have to work on that.
Okay. Yeah, give folks the 10-second pitch on coming out to watch your boys this year.
Yeah, I think if you come out and watch the guys play and whatnot, you're going to see a really exciting team. We like to get out and run. In a half-court offense, we do a really nice job, whether it's versus man or zone. The guys can knock down shots. And defensively, we're going to really try and get after it this year. So come on down and watch us play, make some noise.
Spencer Rockets head coach Charles Jennings, thanks for the time today. Good luck this year.
Thank you, and thank you for having us.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
Meet your friends at Schmitty's on Main. It's a great place to meet and even better place to eat. Schmitty's on Main is open Tuesday through Sunday with daily specials for breakfast, lunch, and their classic Friday fish fry. Sunday lunch always features their signature chicken dinner. Let Schmitty's take care of your next event or ask them about their banquet hall. Stop by Schmitty's today. You'll never be disappointed or go away hungry. Call a friend and make plans to meet at Schmitty's on Main, 436 Hewitt Street in Neillsville. The new Gross Motors Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram Truck Showroom and Service Center is now open. Check out the new Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram Showroom, Lounge, and Service Center. Rows and rows of vehicles, the best selection around, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you through the buying process. Gross Motors in Neillsville now has the largest Chevy, Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealership in central Wisconsin, all in one spot on Highway 10 in Neillsville.
Take your valuable possessions from outdoors to indoors with help from ShedsDelivered.com. It's your one-stop shop for sheds, barns, cabins, garages, greenhouses, chicken coops, and hunting blinds, all crafted by skilled Amish artisans. Headquartered in Loyal, Rod and April make it easy. Just visit ShedsDelivered.com to design your perfect structure. With short lead times and free delivery and installation, Sheds Delivered is the smart choice for outdoor storage. That's ShedsDelivered.com. Go today.
Nuts Deep too. You can book your party with them. They have their party spaces, and they can handle parties between 10 and 100 persons. Plus, they also offer off-premise catering as well. So contact Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield for your party needs. Our next guest is the boys basketball coach at Neilsville High School, Mike Geyer. Coach, welcome to our program for this evening. Good to have you with us again tonight.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for all the coverage for our small-town schools and the kids getting some media attention. I really appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you being here. And so since Larry Hazer knows your program real well, we'll turn this over to Larry and have him lead off some questions for you.
I guess I have a vested interest in the program a little bit. Mike, off to a 4-2 start. The Cranberry Classic tournament, you guys played really well there. Got off 2 wins. Then it's kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster ride since then.
Yes. I think we have Adam Hazer has gotten hurt recently, and he was a big part of our rotation coming in. And so losing him, his size, his ability to score the ball, having him on the bench right now has hurt our rotation a little bit, practices, things like that. So he was able to get back a little bit today and join us in practice, and that was really good to see. So to get back to full strength, I think it'll really help us moving forward. But we're still kind of a young team, inexperienced. We play a lot of sophomores, freshmen, juniors. So, early in the season, it's some growing pains, highs and lows, roller coaster ride, like you said. But to keep the kids focused on the mission at hand, and they're doing a pretty good job of that.
You got most of your kids back from last year, leading scorer back, point guard back. It's got to make it a little easier for you on the coaching end?
Yes. Those 2 guys, Landon and Andrew, had to step into some roles last year as leading scorers, guy with the ball the whole time, with some others around them that had no experience. And so those guys faced a lot of defenses keyed on them. Maybe they weren't ready for it every game, different stuff like that. But, a year under their belt, they've seen all the defenses and things like that. So hopefully they can continue to grow. We're trying to get more people involved in our offense so that we're not so easy to guard with those 2. And so, again, some growing pains with that, but we're moving forward and they're continuing to grow. But, yes, having those 2 back basically was the core of our team last year. So having those guys back, it wasn't as big a step as we had last year. So it's been a good transition into this year.
Going into last night's game against Gilman, you had 9 guys out of the 10 that play score.
Yes.
So you're going pretty deep on the bench this year.
Yeah, we've played 10 or 11 guys. When Adam's healthy, we've played games where we've had 11 guys in the rotation. And, some games permit, with the score being as it is, it permits, some rotations, 5 in, 5 out, which makes it easy for kids to get time. And really, early in the season, we're looking for who's going to step into some roles that we need later in the season. I told the kids, hopefully by New Year's, we have our 7-8 man rotation down, and they're all fighting for those positions. So good to get those kids some early minutes in the season, see what they can do, see who's going to step up into some roles as we need them going into the tournament time.
What are some of those guys that need to step into those roles?
Well, we have our seniors. Obviously, we talk about Andrew. He kind of has a role already. But Cody Hart, Colin Knopf, and Caden Stry. Caden Stry was a starter for us last year. looking for him to step up some more with putting the ball in the hole a little more. He has to anchor us with rebounding and things like that. So he's got to grow into his role even more than it is. Colin, Cody are trying to find a role being defenders, and can they hit an open three? When Landon and Andrew draw a lot of pressure, can they kick it out? And we have some guys that hit a three. Zion Jones was our leading scorer last night, put the ball in the hole, and that's what he's out there to do. He's trying to score. And so we're really looking for people that can help Landon and Andrew score, because we've had some games this year where opposing coaches and teams, their defensive scheme is leave those three guys and make sure Andrew and Landon can't score. So we really need to fill in around them some guys that are real threats to take and make open shots, as well as create some offense so that Andrew and Landon don't have to do everything.
Your offense seems to be liking to run the transition game opposed to the half-court offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think I joke with the kids all the time that our basketball IQ isn't always the highest as a whole, as a group. And so trying to catch teams not ready, trying to get some easy ones is pretty crucial. I thought last year one of the things we could really work on is we didn't get hardly any easies unless Landon would get a steal out top and get a breakaway layup. So trying to get a few more easies per game. Again, when Adam was healthy, he was leading us in that. He was running the floor well, rim running. He gives us a big target. And I think the first two games in the Cranberry Classic, he had about 8 points a game just on running the floor to the rim, and we're able to throw it up to him and finish. So getting him back into that mode will help us run even more.
Cloverbelt Conference, the Eastern Cloverbelt, as tough as ever this year.
Yeah, I mean, some games, surprising games, Spencer Loyal, things like that. It just shows the quality of coaching, the quality of play right now in the league. There were a lot of years where it was pretty top heavy, but I would say that, the top 5 or 6 teams this year are really competitive. Anybody can take it.
Yeah, you got one of those coming up Thursday night.
Yeah.
When you got Owen Withey.
Yeah, Owen Withey's, always Owen Withey. They're going to be tough. They're going to be physical. That you know what they're going to do, but they do it really well. So Russ does a great job over there getting those kids ready, and we're excited for the challenge.
Gene?
Coach, I do want to ask, I believe last year you brought up Landon Rakestraw as a freshman to be your point guard. Talk, if you would, about how he's progressed from that freshman year to now.
Yeah, well, the first game of the season last year, he spent more time on the floor than on his feet, somersaulting over his feet, going. Landon is insanely fast, and sometimes he's too fast for his own body. So by the end of the season, Landon was a really big piece of what we did, and he made some big growth. He played an AAU season this spring and played with us all summer, and so his growth, he's kind of in a sophomore slump right now in the fact that he's trying to do more things, I would say, right now, trying to be more, kind of the utility knife for us, trying to do everything. So once he gets settled into his role, I think Andrew's in the same spot. Andrew wants to be perfect. Landon wants to be perfect, and right now, when they get in trouble, it's because they're trying to do a little too much and just not let the game come to them. But I think as we settle into the season, those two will hit their stride in what we need them to do for our team to win. But again, early in the season, they're trying to see what they can do, and we grow. Our mission in Neillsville is always to be the best team come playoff time, because we want our seniors to live another day, to play another day in our program. And so if we need to take some early season bumps, we do that, because our mission is to keep these seniors playing in our program as long as they can. So, hopefully we find that stride and at the right time and make a deep playoff run.
And who do you have on your coaching staff this year?
Bryce DeSmet is our JV coach, Columbus native, great teacher in our school district, great guy to have. And Jason Kurth, again, he works with me at school, another phenomenal human being, and the number one quality of an assistant is loyalty, and I have the most loyal assistants that you could have. So I am blessed to be with those guys every day, and I cherish all the time I get to spend with them.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming by. Your ball club back in action tomorrow night or Friday night? Thursday night.
Thursday night,
Yes. Against Owen Withy. That game will be broadcast Thursday on WPKG. Good luck in that ball game throughout the season.
Thank you, and I'd like to send a thank you to Central Wisconsin Broadcasting, especially. Those guys have covered our games for my entire life and probably longer. So to give kids in Neillsville that kind of media has just been a blessing, and Larry and the crew at Central Wisconsin Broadcasting has been phenomenal for Neillsville. So
we appreciate those comments. Thank you very much. We'll come back momentarily with Pittsfield basketball coach Stephen Hadfield, but right now we'll pause for these messages.
Hiller's True Value in Marshfield, Central Wisconsin's Milwaukee Tool Destination Center. The tools you trust from the people you can depend on. Shop the store within a store and find what you're looking for.
That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Now that's what I was looking for.
Looks like you found what you're looking for.
We redesigned our store to offer the biggest selection of Milwaukee tools.
A selection so big you'll need a map to find your way out.
Hiller's True Value in Marshfield, Central Wisconsin's Milwaukee Tool Destination Center.
We're back with Better Halves. Jane is looking for a better health plan. Jane?
I need someone who'll make time for me. So, how would you two get to know me?
You want time? I'll keep you on hold all night long.
He sounds gross.
Jane, I'm Steve from security. I won't treat you like a number. I've got award-winning service and coverage made just for you.
Now that's better. Next up, networks.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken has been voted best pizza in Marshfield 16 years in a row. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken is ready for your call now. Choose drunken chicken, BLT, Western, mac and cheese, sweet chili chicken, and more. Plus, Scotty's has broasted chicken, fish sandwiches, salads, and desserts. Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, 715-384-8118 and scottyspizza.com.
Scotty's Pizza and Chicken, how can I help you?
Looking to buy flooring today? Shop R&R Flooring and Furniture. We have more flooring in stock and ready to go than the big box stores. Over 250,000 square feet.
That's right, over 250,000 square feet of luxury vinyl planking carpet in over 150 colors.
R&R guarantees you will find what you're looking for at a price you won't find anywhere else.
Grab your new floor today or schedule an installation.
When it comes to flooring, furniture, and mattresses,
it's easy.
Come to R&R Flooring and Furniture today. That's all it takes.
OSQ, Spencer Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com, as well as ZaleskiSports.com. Our next guest is the basketball coach at Pittsfield High School, Stephen Hadfield. Coach, thanks for coming by and welcome to our program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And first of all, you're a new coach at Pittsfield High School this year. I should say, a former coach coming back to the boys program this year. Tell us about your background. What brings you back to the Pittsfield boys program this year?
Yeah, so coached girls there. I teach at Pittsfield. My 15th year here or there, and coached for 5 years girls. Kind of left the program to raise my family. Now my family is getting into basketball, so I've got a fourth grader who plays, and I coach them as well, and then a son in seventh grade as well who will be in high school in a couple of years here. So it's kind of the right time to get back into the program. And then I know all the guys obviously really well, being their teacher for many of them. So.
And you've worked with Mr. Denniston and the staff for quite a while, so you're pretty familiar with Pittsfield basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you mentioned, you've coached the girls formerly some years ago. How about that experience, how that's helped you in taking over the boys program this year?
Yeah, I think just kind of, knowing the community, knowing the school, just kind of that leading that role from kind of JV coach for 2 years for the girls, and then had the program for 3 years for them. So it was good, learning to be a head coach and the time that it takes commitment that it takes to make that happen. And then also running our youth basketball program, a lot of effort that goes into that. So I'm just pouring a lot of effort into it to really make sure that we can have a successful program, and super excited about coaching a great group of guys right now, great senior class, and just really excited to be part of it. So.
Well, how about the start of your season so far?
Yeah, so we're off to a pretty good start. We're 3-1 and 3-0 in the conference, so we're doing really well. Picked up another win last night. Guys are playing hard. Really new system for them, so completely different. New offense, new defense. kind of a new theory or new way that we go about playing basketball. But they're taking to it really well. They're excited about it. It was tough kind of starting off. We lost two guys that would have been really good contributors to our varsity program. They both got hurt in football, had kind of season-end injuries before the season even started with torn ACLs. One of them being a senior, so that was tough for him, and then a junior as well. So, that was a loss for us, but we've still been able to play really well. We've got 6 seniors, so.
You mentioned some changes, Coach. Tell us about some of the new things you're doing with the Pittsfield program this year.
Yeah, so I think traditionally, at least for many years, they've kind of played that half-court offense, half-court defense, ran a lot of zone offense, a lot of 2-3. We've transitioned into more of a full-court offense and defense, a lot of man-to-man, a lot of throwing different looks at different teams, really looking to push the ball up the floor. We've got a lot of speed on our team, so we take advantage of those opportunities, and we really want to push the tempo. So.
And how about telling us about some of the young men in your ball club this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're led by, like I said, 6 seniors. Dawson Luther, though, is definitely returning, but been playing varsity since he was a freshman. Not necessarily started, but definitely been playing and started probably the last 3 years. So since his sophomore year, just a great leader, great all-around athlete. I mean, the kid is a stud in football and baseball. Committed to UW Stevens Point for baseball. So just a great kid to work with in my classes that he takes, and obviously as an athlete. And then also returning for us is Dalton Dar, good basketball player, good in the post, just positive role model. And then led by 4 more seniors after them who are playing really well. Didn't play a lot of basketball last year as juniors, but really are taking well to it. So we've got Darren Luther, Dawson's cousin, and we've got Christian Matthews, and then we've got Titus Reese. So all those guys are picking up good minutes and playing really tough for us. And then we finished with our big guy, Ryan Kundinger, who was also didn't play a lot last year as a varsity player, but is playing some good minutes this year and definitely playing well for us.
How have they taken to your new system this year?
Yeah, really well. I think they're excited about it. I think from day one, actually from the summer, they started to get into it, started to learn what we were going to do, and then from day one of the season, really contributing and putting a lot of effort. And then we've got a good junior class coming up too, a lot of guys that playing. And kind of our unexpected player this year is a guy that only played JV2 last year, Christian Matthews, 6'3" sophomore, only started playing basketball in 8th grade year, so has very little experience, but he's growing a lot, really quick kid, and we're excited about to kind of see where he's going to go. He plays a lot of minutes, comes off the bench, but he's a really contributor to us, especially defensively.
We were talking earlier tonight with Chad Weinfurter from Auburndale. He mentioned that he lost Blake Rabb from last year's team, graduated, and Blake was one of those guys who was very good at everything. He played football, basketball, baseball, very good at all 3 sports. So some guys are really good at this sport, pretty good at this sport, not so much at this sport, but he was good at everything. You've got Dawson Luther, who's good at every sport. He's 3 sports, very good at all of them. What's it like to have a guy like Dawson on your roster?
Yeah, just Dawson is that guy is going to go. I mean, he's only coming out very, very little, sparingly. He will go as hard as he possibly can from tip to the end, and just an awesome leader. He's that guy that's going to build momentum, and he's definitely. He's going to lead us in scoring. He's going to push that tempo, and he's going to take on any challenge that we give him. And he just he does it with stride and works his butt off. So.
Okay, let's bring in Larry Hazer for some questions and comments. Larry,
you said you mentioned changing what you do at Pittsville or what they have. Was that basically on the personnel that you have coming back, or was that just a personal?
I'd say a little bit of both. I said that's definitely my basketball, and when I played in high school, I played on a good competitive basketball team. We went pretty far and got to state or almost to state multiple years in a row, and that was the kind of basketball that we played. So that was the basketball I was going to bring into Pittsville. Definitely with our boys program, and then with our personnel. Yeah, we're definitely a lengthy, quick team, and we're deep, right? I mean, we've got JV, we've got JV2 for a small school, to have 3 teams. I think that, that shows to the depth of our program and the commitment and the guys that, want to be successful. So when you have that kind of depth, you got plenty of guys to come off the bench, and those guys can come off and work hard minutes and transition for us. So I think traditionally in the past, they've had the guys, but they haven't necessarily played a lot of guys. So when you're going to run up and you're going to play that high tempo, you got to be willing to play different guys and get different looks, and they've all really committed to that real well. So
I know we had Joe Konieczny in here from Columbus Catholic. He is a big influencer in youth basketball at Columbus Catholic, and you kind of mentioned youth basketball. Is that kind of what you're doing at Pittsville too, kind of getting into that as well?
Yeah, so definitely been a part of that for quite some time. Started our Cub Hoops program when I coached the girls and got that back going a couple years ago. So that's kind of our little dribblers program for our little kids. And then my wife and myself actually took over our youth basketball program this year. So we're running all the tournaments and scheduling everything, which is a lot of work. And then I started coaching my son's team in third grade last year. So we've got a good little fourth grade basketball team, a lot of athletes there that are excited to be. And then my son's seventh grade team, also a good basketball team there. A lot of them played eighth grade this year, and they're going to be a good team. So there's some very excited things to see. We definitely got some athletes that are coming up in our youth program, and excited to see about that.
Do you incorporate any of that stuff that you use in the high school level? Down there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, focus a lot on fundamentals and, doing that from the youth up. And then just trying to work with other youth coaches as well to have that focus on fundamentals and build those strengths when they're young. So that way when they get to our high school program, they have that core. And also just, that basis of our offense of what we run, that basis of what we defense that we run. So it's interesting, in the youth program, man-to-man is what they run. And then they kind of switch over to playing this zone offense, and then so for them to kind of get back into playing man-to-man has been interesting, but they like it. That's what they want to play.
For your team to succeed this year, I know you said you had a successful start here. What's going to be the key for you guys to be successful throughout the year?
Last night was a great game because Dawson actually didn't have a very good game offensively last night. Great defensive game, but we really, it kind of was all the guys really contributed last night, and we had a lot of guys that just kind of stepped up and scored, and that's what we need consistently. Is we need just not one, our two guys scoring the majority of the points. So that's what we need. We just need to continue to play really good basketball, and the basketball that I've brought to Pittsville that I expect out of them. And I think we're yet to play kind of our best game yet. So we're excited. I think we got, we've got a good chance to make a run at conference this year, which is kind of a, probably an amazing thing to say with a new coach, and really lost, most of our varsity from our last year. So,
and it's got to be a joy for you as a coach that everybody bought into the new system. I know you talked about a little bit with Gene there, but I know I coached in the youth level too, and sometimes the kids look at you like, "Well, we're going to do that. We're going to do that." But it seems like everybody is buying into what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So just trying to kind of ingrain that idea of being successful and everybody, pushing each other and being competitive. And I talk to the guys. We're not going to win every basketball game, but I want them to go out there and compete. Our first game against Royal, great defensive basketball team. We came out in the first half, and we were down by 3 at the first half. And I don't think their coach expected that at all. I think he was pretty upset. But we were really in the game, and then the second half was a little bit tougher. We had a tough time scoring with them. But after that game, I've been telling the guys, not disappointed at all. You gave it your all. Nobody gave up. Nobody was walking, and that's what I really want of the guys, is just for them to every night, put in all their effort, push each other, and just do their best. So,
all right.
Coach, a lot of us who follow Pittsville basketball don't know that much about the CWC, especially the South Division. Tell us about the basketball we'll see in that league this year.
Yeah, so, my understanding is it is down a little bit. I think there were a lot of, good players that graduated last year. Alman Bancroft has played us tough. I think we beat them last week. It was the first time in 6 years, so home or away. So they lost a lot of players. But I think that there's some young groups that are coming up. Tri-County, we played them last night. They're mainly sophomores and juniors, so they're going to be a good basketball team next year. They're not going to lose one senior. Let's see, Pacelli, traditionally, I think, probably one of the better teams in the CWC South, but they've struggled by the looks of their box scores this year. Haven't had a chance to, obviously, we haven't played them yet, or haven't had a chance to see them play much, but so, good basketball team there. Let's see, Rosholt, we played them. I think that they're playing, much better basketball as well too. So interesting. I think a lot of teams are fairly young and got some coaches that are committed to their programs and trying to build a program just like I am. So and we're excited about that too, because as much as we have 6 seniors, we also have some good young guys coming up. We've got another really good sophomore who probably starts playing some varsity minutes here too. He had a big injury last year, so kind of working him back into getting ready to play, that little bit more fast-paced basketball.
How does your coaching staff look for this year?
Yeah, coaching staff, myself and, another JV coach as well. And pretty much just the two of us running the program. We do have a JV2 coach that kind of helps us out just for the games. So, but yeah, Nate Bowden is our JV coach, ran our youth program for a long time, and then coached our current 7th graders, who has a son in for many years. And he has a son that's a junior as well, too. So.
And your team plays a non-conference game with Greenwood Granton tomorrow night.
Yeah, a Friday night.
Friday night, right?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we play Friday night, Greenwood Granton in Granton, so kind of exciting. I actually started my teaching career in Granton and my coaching career there as well too. I coached the middle school boys there a long time ago. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to it. Should be a good basketball game.
All right, well, Coach, good luck in that ball game and throughout the season.
Thank you.
Pittsfield High School basketball coach Stephen Hadfield joined us on our boys basketball preview program from Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. Back with more of our program following these messages.
High school sports coverage is brought to you by Felker Brothers Corporation, the complete combination in stainless steel piping products, pipe, tube, fittings, and custom fabrication. Astra Assisted Living, Chestnut Avenue, Marshfield, the very best assisted living, convenient, comfortable, and secure lifestyle. Visit AstraSeniorCommunities.com. And Hiller's